Assessors. Thursday, June 26th, 2025 at 4 p.m. First item agenda is review minutes from last meeting of June 10th, 2025. We've got copies here.
I didn't know they were called obsolescent reports. It's interesting.
Absolutely, discuss.
I guess that's our 10-year list.
Wasn't it, is that the same as cyclical or inspections? What's the difference? Well, no, obsolescence.
No,
was
the
the other one
obsolescence
with
was like the special report, the depreciation.
depreciation.
Oh, gotcha.
There was one more.
You can second, remove these were the outstanding reports for previous years.
Yeah, right, okay,
That's fine.
So,
yeah,
just so we can add on with this year.
okay. We're all caught up on minutes. Meetings, okay. Well, we're still on the April 24th, I would have to be. But, okay,
Yeah, I did look through the computer too on that, Fred. I don't see
Didn't see
anything.
anything.
No,
okay,
no, because generally what I do with the minutes is I save them all with the desktop, so that if anyone needs to go on the computer to check it, it's right, it's just so you're all aware, if you ever wanna go and check them. I leave them right at the desktop, and then, now that I've got a couple, I'll start to fold them, and just say minutes and agenda. One thing with the minutes too, I was unaware of, I talked to Jessica the other day.
yeah,
She wants me to have the three of you, just if you agree with the minutes that are on there, just to sign off before she posts it online.
That's fine, sure.
well, it should, so is our signature gonna be online there with the minutes?
That's why I mentioned it to you. I'm not saying I need it from you, I'm just telling you what Jessica said, that she
Maybe
prefers
initials.
signed off.
She probably was at the initial, so she knows you saw it.
Yeah, initials is probably fine, I would think.
Yeah. But the copy that she posts online, will it show that, or that just for her file to show that we see
I
that
would-
signed off?
I would assume it's just for her to hold in the file, that's why I'm asking where you stand with it. And I can verify that with her, that you're not gonna be putting it online with those,
Yeah,
correct?
right,
Because I'm assuming it's, from what she said, it's just for her to be able to keep the hard record of it.
Yeah.
So that if she's asked, why was this put online? Oh, well, you know, Jane, Fred, and
Yeah.
Mike all signed off on it.
yeah, okay,
But we're gonna put them online. I can't imagine a scenario where we wouldn't. put 'em online.
No, again, Mike, it's something I'm just sharing because it was sent to me, so I feel like I'm kind of that in between with
Yeah.
anybody else too, you guys.
If you want the initial, I mean.
yeah. we can do that, yeah. Okay, so then do you have a copy that you want us to,
There you go.
let me show you have an official or whatever on it work?
Today's the 28th,
What?
26th.
26.
Okay.
Days go quick enough, think.
I'll issue one.
They sure do. Oh, I guess we're all, that's fine.
Why my name, so
Oh, okay,
they want something.
that's fine.
It is going by quick, I feel like we're gonna see the foliage change any minute now. I know.
It
Thank you
happens.
very much, guys.
Don't cry because it, over, smile because it happened.
Okay, so make a motion to accept the minutes of minutes of June 10th.
The. I motion we accept the minutes of June 10th.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Aye. Right. Question on the. Before we get into number 3, the minutes, and whatever, and it kind of gets into how often we we're gonna be meeting, whether it's every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever, our schedule. There are some committees that meet first virtually. All the time, there's no
meeting, just
meeting per
just
se in person. Can we meet virtually rather than in person? The only different, well, one difference is, okay, we sign stuff for motor vehicle abatements and other stuff. Other committees maybe don't sign anything other than maybe agree on the minutes of meetings.
All right. Can I answer that?
Sure.
Well, we did during COVID,
Yeah,
we've, all our, in Amherst, the meetings were all remote or
virtual.
virtual, yeah.
Yeah.
And the board voted to give this assessor, once they had voted. If you voted at a meeting, they give her this authority to sign the cards with their name, sort of like an assessor per pro,
Yeah,
CC or whatever that's not for anyone. So you, yes, you can do it, but you still don't have to vote them at the meeting.
right. So we could do that, and then I think we did that here in another committee of mine. We left them out in the hallway for people to sign.
You can do that, too.
Members, to sign, yeah, yeah.
Can I just back up a bit? We're meeting once a month, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's
So far,
so far.
and
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be anything pressing that would make us want to meet more than that unless a pressing item came up. I'm not a fan of virtual meetings unless it's necessary, I
Well,
guess.
The only thing that would come up, you guys probably know the response time to motor vehicle abatements and other stuff. Press we get in, is there a time limit, 30 days or?
And so anybody that sends like an email or a call, it's 10 business days for a response.
10 business day, okay.
So that requires some signatures.
Well,
No,
but for the other stuff, we signed. the
No, so
abatements.
say if you send me via email, your motor vehicle abatement,
So
I just need to respond within 10 business days that it's been received.
Understood.
And when they come
Very-
in,
very
we
good.
generally stamp.
There's no date that says it has to be after done, just received. Okay, very good.
Just received.
Sign it,
Okay.
okay.
So that doesn't preclude any an emergency.
And if we're. In the past, when we talked to individual property assessments, we were going into executive session. So it wasn't recorded or minutes taken. Can we do that in a virtual meeting? Can we go into executive session, do you know?
yes, you can, as long as you shut down the people in the outside world.
But do we have to start with an open meeting first and
Yeah.
then go into executive session?
You always have to start with.
It always has to start with.
Okay, but does that open meeting have to be in-person meeting?
No, if you can start, anything you can do sitting here today, you could do in a virtual meeting.
Virtual, right,
So you'd open the virtual meeting as a meeting.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, you'd go to a virtual meeting for the executive session.
Yeah.
And then you just do the same, either come back out of or not, whichever you choose to do.
okay, but this session here is being recorded. So it's gonna be available on the website. When you go to executive session, will you stop the recording then?
We stopped the people from the outside world accessing it.
Okay,
Nobody just want that, you know, the difference between this recording and a virtual is we'll have people talking to us,
right,
so we would shut them out.
right. Okay. But then the executive session meeting would still.
You
be
still,
recorded.
you still have a recording of it, but it would not be open to the public at any time.
Unless
But then,
instructed to do so by some legal
Yeah.
authority. Okay.
but then you have to make sure that Jessica, whoever sends it to FERCog, only does the open meeting part and not the executive session.
And she would do that, just, yeah,
Right, to tell her that it's not.
That could get us in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll need to go over that with her.
I don't know if that's gonna
What
be,
we do right now is at the end of it, I stop it and then I upload it to the cloud automatically, so it goes right to you too.
yeah,
So
you wouldn't do that anymore.
that's what I was gonna say. So basically I would just record. I'd stop the recording at the very end of the meeting, but I won't do any uploading and then she would have to go and decide where to split that. But
right, that's works for. keeping it in this office, but once you send it to FERCog to put on YouTube. I don't think this office controls when it gets on there.
Well, we wouldn't send them the executive session piece?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You have to tell Jessica, don't send that part of it, just the public meeting part.
Right.
Because once she sends it, there's no control when it gets on there, because I asked, is it the next week it gets on, or 2 weeks or 3? No, it all depends when.
What has she done in the past?
When FERCog decides to put it on, whether they're busy that day, that week, or whatever decides, but.
You said you send them, these meetings go to Franklin County, these go to FERCog?
Yes, and they're on their website, on YouTube, anybody can see them, yes,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. I thought they were staying in the town website.
Yeah, no, and I actually asked. Once, like you say, they're recorded here and they stay here, Jessica. Or keep saying Jessica has a copy of it and it's logged in somewhere. Cause I asked after one of our meetings here, I wanted to review it again. To see what we actually agreed to do during the meeting. And I didn't wanna wait 3 weeks for the next meeting or FERCog to put it on. So I asked Jessica, send me the link to look at that video that you took of our meeting last week, I said. And she did that, she could do that, and I could pull it up, just like a YouTube on my screen, and I think I sent it to you guys, one of these went. A while back, month or two,
Before me.
maybe I sent it a month or two of our last meeting, so you could see what we talked about and agreed to. Maybe it was when we were talking with. Maybe when David Manzella was here and we were talking about that. How he was adjusted data or whatever, we had a recording of it, yeah, and I went back and I wanted to see exactly what he said and what we agreed to. And I think at least I sent it to you, Mike, so you could look at it. Before waiting 3 weeks to be on the FERCog site.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys could look at that if you wanna review it.
So just a quick question on that. One of the towns we do doesn't do any recording. Is it
Yeah.
necessary? Is it legally required to record the executive session? Or so that we can eliminate what you're alluding to?
You're required to keep minutes.
Yeah. I don't know if we keep minutes of executives, well, session, other than, we agree on values of property, so, it's.
Well, we're required to keep minutes, but I guess that's what I'm getting at, is I keep minutes over there, but we don't do any recording. So. I guess that would be the question, is it actually necessary to record the executive session start or to eliminate that issue? Just simply stopping it at the open
Yeah,
meeting, so that when Jessica goes to upload, she's only uploading that portion of it.
Right,
But if FERCog wanted to access the minutes, those would still be getting done the regular way
Yeah,
and put
right.
online for them to see.
What town doesn't do it, if I can ask?
Conway,
Conway,
they
okay.
don't record any of it.
we don't record.
And regarding recording, what's the expense to this town for storing this data?
I'd have to ask Jessica on that.
I mean, if it's savings, then it's not necessary. Have we ever gone back? Well, you have, yeah, we've gone back and reviewed.
That's just a curiosity,
Yeah.
like, because
Yeah.
if another town doesn't do it, then clearly it's not,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
not a legality that you have to, so why not just stop at the open meeting and then that eliminates any.
Yeah,
interview
right.
with-
Before I make a decision, we probably should table this before it gets
Yeah,
deeper.
we can do that.
Because it isn't a bad idea. I think it's not, other towns aren't doing it.
That's what I'm saying, just stop at the open, or do
Yeah.
I need to do it at all?
Yeah.
You know, if
It's
it's
a-
costing you money,
Yeah.
depending, it's up to you.
It's set, so certainly, I'd like to get through tonight's business, but I like the idea.
All right, why don't we table that then?
Yeah, okay. Because, well, as you know, Conway doesn't record or anything, they have public meeting and in-person meetings, but nothing else.
No, and when we've had a couple of them that have gone executive, and when we go to executive, we simply pause and then we let, so and so, because they're having a couple come in and, we're gonna have to ask you to leave at this point. So we go into executive session.
It'll go back to recording when someone sues us, we need to go back. And they'll say, okay, at this point, not everything's recorded, but so far, we haven't had that luxury, have we?
No,
No. Good. It's just amazing what you have to do to protect yourself.
yeah, right. So, okay, so you'll look at a few things in that issue, okay.
Yeah. And per what you were just saying, before we go forward, I actually, after I had sent all this and put it out, I should have had this in a slightly different order, so. Would you be okay going to number 5 and taking care of the abatements, which is simpler business, and then we'll circle back to the stuff that's gonna take a little bit longer.
Sure.
Okay, so first, we have. Significant stack on the abatements that we found this week, all the applications are in there and, your turnover report is on the front page.
And it's strictly from the computer, it's no decision from.
No, all the
Anybody other than
certificates,
it's
any
interesting
paperwork you
information.
want is right in there, Mike, certificates, the whole bit, all. Just a matter of, you can skim through it, but it's just a matter of getting the signature so I can turn that over.
So nothing's gonna change even if it's skim through it,
No,
unless you see some, read that.
no, I thought very thoroughly through that.
Well,
Actually, I went back through that and everything's lined up perfectly the way that,
Okay.
now that I understand fully how to do this.
We rarely have questions about this, as long as it's filled out properly, I guess. We don't question the numbers really, know that much, I guess.
Those are all generated by your data. Year, mileage, stuff like that.
Do you want to see what somebody did?
No, it's too much, whatever.
So you wanted just to sign the cover then, we agree?
Yeah, so the new treasurer, Jennifer Day, she said that's all that she's looking for is to get that cover, and then I'll pass on the certificates to her. So that, she can keep them in the binder they have in the treasurer's office.
Right. Okay, cause. I'm thinking. During COVID, did. We authorized the assistant assessor to sign all these, can we
Yep.
do that without? Well, you're kind of doing that now, but you want the board, I guess, to sign.
Just to be aware of it.
So here's what I'll share with you from Leverett. In Leverett, we process all of these without bringing it to the board. And then at the end of the month, when we have the meeting, we present them similar to as I'm doing with this. We present with one final, one to sign off. And then I give that to the treasurer so that she has the recording that the board did indeed approve it. However, if you give me that permission to sign off on myself, then we can do that ahead of time as we do with Leverett. So yes, that is more than feasible and preferable as well, because it cuts down a lot of the extra time of having to do this.
So then we wouldn't have to sign this.
Yeah, if we make the decision that RRD would just. take
Well,
care of it.
do we want to see just a cover sheet after you sign it?
Right.
Well, yeah, as we,
We'll do that, okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And the big thing with that is it holds up, it eliminates that hold up on abatement checks going
Right.
on. Where they go on every 2 weeks instead of having to wait, I can authorize it and have it sent.
Okay. Well,
who else, once you sign, once we sign, then it goes to the billing.
It's gonna go to Jennifer Day, the collectors,
Yeah.
and then also I would be sending a copy to the accountant.
So there's no room for fraud anymore, it's right up the number. Okay.
okay, so we agree that we'll let Derek sign these.
And we're gonna just get,
Abatements as they come in, and we'll get them at a
That'll be fantastic for your residents.
summary, whatever, yeah.
So it's the agreement is that Derek will sign the.
Yes. Everybody agree with that?
aye,
Aye. Okay, Jane, you're okay.
Yes,
what we have Stephen sign in our,
I don't think he,
was it this? Didn't we?
remember, maybe,
That's,
maybe.
that's, I remember we delegated something to Stephen, that was, I thought it was similar to this, but that's not.
and then is Derek are you going to then write a cover sheet, just so that we see that at the meeting, was that part of?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Right,
Frank
okay.
said. Once that's all set, when I sign off on that, I'll bring that to the meeting to let you know, we
Okay.
see the abatements that will process this one.
What we were doing with Stephen was. We were
And
signing
once you send
three
that,
copies.
he's all very solid and very good.
Little cards, kind of, we were signing 3 of them. That he would give to the treasurer to act on. That
Yeah, I
would
do
be
need to.
the trigger that would get the rebate going now, I assume.
You really don't need those 3 things anymore, we'll give it to Jennifer, and she'll take care of it.
Yeah, Well, what was it that Stephen had
There was
they
something.
had a book with you'd sign,
Every week we were signing something.
signed a form, it was like four of them on a page. And you would, point a page and.
You're talking about these right here for the certificates?
Yeah, I guess. it
Okay,
is.
so those don't need to be signed. There is the spots on there. That's absolutely, it's not necessary. It's not required.
Okay.
The purpose behind those is one to send out to the residents, one for us to hold and one for the collector to hold.
Right,
And as far as the one to the resident, what I discussed with her is it makes more sense for them to send it out. Because on some of these, they're gonna have a check, others that will have money owed, I will send those.
yeah,
So that they're not waiting, and that's the other holdup on it. If you have something getting abated and you're getting January and February abated off of it, right, so now you owe 50 instead of 60, you still owe that $10. If I have to wait the 2 weeks for her to send it, that can put you then into the demand state and into the fees, and we wanna try to eliminate that, so we're not having to recoup those back as right now. The other reports that I just passed to Jane to go around real quick to sign, that's all the preliminary billing going out on the personal property, the CPA tax and the real estate tax.
Oh,
And before you sign those,
so
just so you're
that's the
aware,
preliminary new.
I sat with Jennifer Day, the new treasurer, and I had her look over those reports to make sure they were satisfactory. She's said they were perfect, right, is exactly what she's looking for, so. Again, all we need on those is signatures. She has sent out the preliminary billing as of today.
and you looked at, look at the personal property one, you looked at the list that she has that supports the total amount here, dollar amount.
That total amount actually is directly from her, Fred. So I had to match mine up to hers, and then that's why I said I went back into review with her. If you look at the one with the real estate and personal property, there's gonna be 2 for real estate, 2 for, not personal, I'm sorry, 2 for real estate, 2 for CPA. And on the back, we just did the basic math, so you can see where we came up with the figures that are on that.
Right.
So we just added the two together, got the 58,887, I believe, on the CPA.
Yeah.
And then 4,000, I don't remember, 4,100 something, 103 or something like that on the, 2 million, I'm sorry, 2,400,000 on the, real estate tax.
That first report was generated originally from Cynthia, wasn't it?
For the,
Personal property, cows,
well, that was,
yeah, that was that handwritten.
that was the
thing.
livestock and that was.
Yeah, didn't have farm equipment on there.
Farm equipment, yeah. Good, but. Getting back to the personal property one, okay. You have a list of. Of all these properties that qualify for personal, or submitted for personal property.
Yes, yeah, Linda has that, but yes, I can definitely get that view.
Okay, and. See, and
Okay, Fred,
in the past,
they're all based on last year's tax levy limit or tax commitment.
yeah,
So we haven't entered the new personal property for this coming year yet. So for FY 26, that would be part of the actuals.
Right, again,
So
this
we
is
may
the
have
preliminary.
more or less by the time we get there.
This is just based on what we think.
No,
No, this is
what we have
based on
last,
last year's figures.
last year's net taxes.
Well, okay, I phrased that badly.
So if last year's net tax was $2,000, you're gonna take and four-way that. So the initial preliminary billing is gonna send out 2 500s for September, November.
Okay,
And then when the actual comes out, after the tax rate is set, you'll get the actual billing, and that'll cover the rest of it for
Okay.
this year.
right,
I said based on
Make sense?
what we know. Yes, it does actually. It's based on what we know.
Correct, just based off last year.
Yes.
okay.
So it's not new, Fred. We don't have the new list.
No.
We're not gonna get a new list.
No.
Well, we don't have it.
We don't have, well, we won't have that till the tax rate gets set for.
Yeah.
Okay, but going back like 6 months ago, Stephen was looking at personal property taxes. He sent out, there was a form that you sent out beginning of the year to ask people that in the past have reported personal property to continue reporting or tell us if they don't have it
Correct.
anymore.
Forward list.
Okay, that list was used to generate these numbers.
No. That list that he sent out, which was due back in March,
Yeah,
will be used to generate the numbers in December for the actual tax bills. And that will have any new accounts or updated accounts on it. That's the FY 26 form of list. The preliminary bills that we send out are based, as Derek said, on last year's net taxes.
right,
There are no additions, there's no deletions, well, there's abatements, if we did an abatement,
Okay.
that's referenced in there. But that's just off what was on the system after all the bills were generated last year.
okay, and to the ones that he generated that list. Are you guys tracking that, or
We have got those in their layman's there to get entered on the system.
this is and comparing it to other years or changes to make sure that everybody's reporting it?
We have a person called Linda, no,
Jenny,
Jenny what?
Jenny Daniels.
Jenny Daniels.
Mary Day, I don't know what her
It's
married
with
name is.
Jenny. We sent her the forms of list. And she's gonna go into each account that we have online
Yeah,
and let us know if they didn't get it. Or if she's got extra ones or new ones.
Yeah, okay.
So we will be advised of that. She will also update all the electric company and Berkshire Gas and those
Yeah,
people,
okay,
state-owned utility. So she does all that, and that's where the form, Stephen sends the forms, Stephen sent the forms.
yeah,
They were due back by March 15th.
We were late on you getting those out, I remember.
As long as I have them for the actual tax,
Okay,
I don't
okay,
care.
okay.
but there was at least two businesses that sold during the year, that changed hands, that were no longer Whately residents, but they had business in Whately, they had restaurants. And one is in Hatfield and the other one was in South Deerfield. And I asked, did you send it to the people at their address there to get personal property reported? I guess I never got an answer whether they reported it or not.
I don't know either. If you can give me the two of them, I'll check with Jimmy to see if we can line back.
Well, one is Simmers there, restaurant on River Road.
Is that the one we went to with
Yes, is that one or
the hot dog place?
was the hot pot place
Yeah.
that said they were busy?
Yeah, that's one of them. They're Schmarowski's is the name.
Right.
In Hatfield, and the other one was on River Road. They're not open right now. It's that little stand as soon as you turn past the school on the left, by Shesky's. There, it was Jimmy Pasechnik and they sold it. They own the house. There's a property record for the house and they own a storage facility behind the house and barns in there. And they have a little stand there. They're, I would say the business address, maybe whatever it is in South Deerfield. And I don't know if, because they change hands, whether that's, they're reporting personal property in there for Whately or not.
Well, what we haven't done yet, what we will do is the people who get business certificates or new business certificates throughout the year, we will get a list of the town clerk. And we will send those accounts the same form, so we should capture all new owners.
Right, okay. Okay, well, I guess you need to follow up on that to make sure, because
We
I'm
will.
not sure that anything was done 6 months ago to follow up on that.
Alright.
So. Okay, so that was, okay,
Which one is it that you've seen already? I don't know.
we're so, well, get it signed.
So Derek, please say again what the official names of those forms are. That they're signing, but
So it's the preliminary billing
thank you.
for, no, absolutely. For the personal property. For the CPA, which is the community preservation. And.
The
Oh, real
tax.
estate tax. Like just kind of, real estate tax, yes. The biggie that we don't wanna forget.
Oh,
Okay, and where do the CPA exemptions here?
One more time,
CPA exemptions, abatements, whatever,
they'll be on the actual tax bill spread.
but that's not,
Those are net taxes, so they're being included on there.
the abatements have already been being calculated in, is what you're saying.
If they got the abatement last year,
They get calculated.
they'll be taken off the total amount of the CPA
Yeah,
and the bill will be calculated in the remainder. So it's already accounted for in there. But they apply for the new ones for next year.
right, and you guys will see that, the payments for the CPA,
Yeah.
because there are a handful that apply for them.
Yeah. Do you help me out? Okay, well,
See, you don't need to,
it's under 5 or something.
no, for CPA, you look at the value of your assessed property minus what, 100,000, more than 100,000, and then look at what assets you have also, and
No, well, for the exemption,
for the exemption, yeah.
yes. Basically, if people, it's based on what people can afford, so most of the people you're gonna see are the people that claim hardships or 41Cs
Right,
that qualify for it. And, if they meet those guidelines, they meet it for the CPA as well.
right, okay. There are, that's different than that.
Okay, it's
the
different,
personal
yeah,
property
okay, gotcha.
exemption.
Okay.
No, and like I say, there's only a handful that apply.
Yeah.
And I get out surprised that the people, I'll tell you later, the people that apply for that,
Yeah.
you would never expect that to happen.
I'm not sure I need to know.
But they have that option, so.
Sure. Always nice to have options.
What were those preliminary billings? Is it on here?
No, this would have been under items not anticipated,
Okay.
due to the fact we had to hold and wait on Catalyst to, fix the valuation issue.
Higher tax bill,
Yeah.
I
primarily.
was trying to take better notes for myself.
No, Jane, like I said, we talked earlier, any questions, I mean, please ask and feel free. If I don't know it, I'll find someone that does.
Well, Jim's still saying.
What's that? That's interesting. 2,000,000. Or, I'm just out of curiosity. I'm just gonna,
CPA,
no, I'm just. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna sign it, but I was just interested. I haven't signed it yet, have I?
What was trying to figure out, mate?
Oh, I was just curious as to the average tax each one pays. If there are 1,600 people in town, we had 2,400,000 real estate taxes. I was just curious as to the average.
Yeah, but that's only half, remember?
Oh, it's not commercial.
No, I said it's only half.
Oh, half the year, so it's, okay. Right, half the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 5 million. Divided by, we got 1,600 people.
well, it's total, young kids, everybody's, it's like 1,200, I think.
1,200 adults.
So,
I was just curious. That's $4,000 a person. Seems high.
no, you're off adjustable. What's your CPA tax land? I don't like $200, I get 100.
Oh, the CPA tax. Oh, thanks, okay.
Or something.
I thought that was real estate tax.
No,
That's the CPA 2.4.
yeah,
CPA.
3%.
No, the real estate's 2.4.
I was gonna say, yeah, the
CPA.
CPA is like 58,000 or something.
Oh,
Sorry, guys, on this here, there's the CPA, but also the real estate.
Right,
behind
oh,
it needs a separate signature.
Yeah, I thought I saw both in there. So the CPA is, I was confused still, it's 5 million and,
Is it what, 3%, I believe the Whately
yeah,
does?
3%.
3%.
okay, by 300, okay.
And that's the max, correct?
Yeah,
I think so,
That's the max.
What towns get bothered with that? Not bothered,
You ever voted for it?
every voter
No.
in Mass.
Right, maybe have the 2/3.
Oh, yeah.
Frontier.
Yeah.
That was.
And they usually say for like.
Lost three times. 4
I
times.
could have looked on that shit once.
I tried your trick.
What they need once.
Pickleball people getting pushy, so I'm like, hey, what town are you from anyways?
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's only Sunderland, Hatfield, South Deerfield, and one other town, Congress is allowed to use those courts. They're getting pushy, and they're kicking people all over the place.
That was a Greenfield.
That's right. I did, so you know me, I'm pretty.
Yeah.
So key when it comes to stuff, so I try to find the humor in it all, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're good on the,
Okay, stuff to sign.
oh, you need more than one signature on it. Both, I don't remember signing both. Did I sign both?
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay, very good.
Yep, I have the abatements, the personal property by all three, CPA by all three, and the real estate.
Okay, good, good,
So we are good. Put Jennifer to work tomorrow.
okay. Tomorrow, this, you guys are here tomorrow, yeah?
She is.
They should-
Maybe, Friday.
Well, she just started on last week, so I think, probably like myself, when I started, I was, with the extra couple days and to make sure you can really get up to speed.
Sure.
All right, so that covers the abatements and reports, so that's all set.
Okay,
Now you want to circle back around to, number 3. Is that what you want to do, Derek?
Yeah, the only other, well, on number 6, that's more or less just to make sure that there's a clarity that from what we discussed last meeting, that is indeed the current scheduling that we're looking at. And obviously subject to change as, something comes up, but currently that is what we're looking at.
so you're looking, okay,
Yeah, I remember that, sure.
Yeah, and that's what I talked with Amy about today, so she is, I believe she did do it today to update the website,
Okay.
so it reflects correctly. The one that I, had to, make sure that she had correctly was that on the 4th Thursday, that because of the meeting that I would be coming in for 10, so she had to make sure she put that in there so that there's no confusion, and then obviously if anybody, does need something, we can work something out, but. Yeah, so that's more or less just to make sure there's no,
I
no
remember
confusion on
remember
that,
that
we're all set with that, and then we can move back up to number 3 if that's clear with everyone.
okay.
You good with that, Fred?
Fourth Thursday is just the 10 to 6, and the other times in the office.
Yeah.
Well, again, it'll
8
be,
to 12, 12 to 4, depending on their schedule.
Well,
yeah, and again, Fred, like I said, this week, we were here all day Tuesday and all day today, that's 16 hours. For this week, so there, most weeks if, Mike's come in and I'm seeing, I mean, you were here last week, we were here Tuesday as well. Most weeks I do end up spending 2 days, over here, so we're definitely meeting the 8-hour minimum and then some.
I wouldn't necessarily say it in the field, because people may look at that and say you're only here 4 hours, that's not enough. I would just say, in the office, Thursdays from 8 to 4, and in meeting days from 10 to 6.
And just leave messages where I.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I can get with Amy to check that. This was just for your eyes to see on this with that,
Because
so.
people could complain and say, well, I'm not here in the morning, so why can't I come afternoon? Well,
You can't even.
that's possible, and you're not every
Yeah,
week,
no,
you're not doing field reviews every week
so
either,
we'll just
so.
change it to.
So it
in-office
it
8.
just looks bad that you're only here 4 hours, not 8, so.
Yeah, so we'll change it to in-office 8 to 4, meeting days
Yeah.
10 to 6, and then I'll
Right.
just wipe out that other line.
Hey,
Perfect.
It's funny, you can't even say in the fields anymore, so. I'm gonna get in trouble later.
Yeah, right.
That's seriously, you're not supposed to say that. It denotes. I'm not gonna go there, let's just, that's all. I'll tell you,
Yeah, you need to be, I'm totally lost.
yeah, it really is.
Okay, we want to do it, you gave us two, I guess 3 and 4, whatever. You gave us 2 memos to look at.
So, going to the, discussing permits and property review schedule. There is an email that I printed out. Should be the last one that you have, from David, which states which days we're going out to do the inspections on. July 11th, July 14th, and July 18th, and then we'd have the cards ready for review on July 24th. So the purpose of me putting that in there was just to make sure there was clarity on exactly where we were at with the scheduling as you requested. And I printed the email just in case anyone had missed it, so that we're all on the same page. So that's really just a matter of a simple review, and then we can move to the other.
Okay, but then more, inspections based on building permits.
I'm sorry, say again, Fred?
What were the
What
inspections
were the
based on?
inspections? What type of inspections?
Building permits,
Building
Building
permits
permits, yeah.
and, okay, sales you're doing, okay, so it's only building, okay, building permits,
yeah, we're not gonna do sales until September, October.
okay.
How about the old list, the 10-year list?
Well, that's cyclical, well, that's the other.
Oh, that's the other memo, okay.
Okay, so for these,
Yeah, it was really just to let, make sure we were all clear on the schedule.
Sure.
You had asked when we were going out, so that was a matter of when, when we were going out. The second question you had at the last meeting was when would we be able to review? And that's where the 24th comes into play. So,
Okay, perfect.
okay,
so that one's as straightforward as that. So we
See, so
okay,
these,
let me just ask the board here, if. On these, for building permits, there's. There's gonna be what, a handful that are new construction?
I think we were 30.
Huh?
third,
30.
Well, that's all of them, but how much, like, your area, would you
Oh,
have?
new houses?
new houses,
What do you
yeah,
have?
it's not 30. We have one, but I'm not even sure it's gonna even show up yet. Oh, that should show up.
I think there are only 4 or 5 new houses or so.
Okay,
Yeah, there's one I can think of actually, it's in our new house.
There's one new house, the other one is just a foundation.
and what I'm
Right,
thinking is, these new ones that we've never been in. Compared to the other ones we've been in, a building permit for an addition or upgrades, whenever we've got a record, a card, and we've been in it. You know what it's like, for the new construction ones. Does this board wanna go out and look at them with our RG? Are we part of that? I mean, we're only talking a handful of them. Do we wanna do that? Or leave the whole thing up to them? I mean, cause how are they gonna compare the one across the street from you?
if you're not there to help
You
to,
know, to you, compared to you, or to Jane or anybody else? I don't know, that's just a thought, that for
I
new
understand,
ones.
you're comparing it to what's been done, or you're comparing it to guidelines to get it done.
Yeah,
Should they have changed is what you might have.
yeah,
And. You know my feelings, right? I've been in 1,000 houses. I very much enjoyed doing it
yeah,
to get an idea of what I was getting into. Turns out I was getting into exactly what I'd gotten into. As a realtor, the only difference is I was there for a little different reason.
yeah.
So,
Well, see what,
so what you're saying is, can I reiterate, what you're saying is, that new house over at Pine Plains Estates, should this board let RRG do it, knowing that RRG was not part of us when we did it years ago. And if there's a discrepancy, who they gotta go to, is what you're saying.
Right.
To help with that discrepancy. That's what I heard.
Right.
What I'm thinking is, rules are rules then or now. Why would those rules change just because there was an inspection prior to that they should have privy to? Rule is whatever you see, A, B, C style, all those things shouldn't have changed. The only thing that changed is the person who did it, and thereby you're gonna have a difference, like it or not, you're gonna have a difference. I'm big on letting one person do it, one consistent, at least a year of consistency. I'm not worried about what was done, they can always abate, they can always say, hey, I don't like it. And for me, that's a smoother path to go down versus reiterating or revisiting an inspection based on the upcoming system. That's just my thought on it.
But-
I understand what you're saying.
if it's your neighborhood, maybe that's one scenario, but the other one, we gotta. And I think there are some new ones, other parts of town. Up on, I don't know, Weber Road or Poplar Hill Road, there may be some new ones that in there. Do we? I mean, it's a little different scenario, cause they're not.
Not my
comparing it
neighborhood.
To yours, not your neighborhood. Do you or Jane wanna going on your mind, I mean, they could schedule their one day or whatever, that they're gonna look at the new. And do that,
I don't have a problem with it, Fred, and. But who's gonna make decisions? Our agency.
Well-
Unless there's input from us that they didn't know, but they've been doing this for years. I'm either way on this one, Fred. As, for the most part, I want other inspections come meet with us, show us what they did. If you would like this board to go out on just the new ones, okay, what, maybe 4 new homes? Town, maybe?
Yeah.
It's interesting information. I haven't been here long enough to say, hey, this isn't what I've seen in the past, so. It'll be interesting to me, you've been here long enough to say, hey, they did this and now they're doing this, that could be valuable. Jane's only been here a short period of time, so you don't know what was done. So, I'll accommodate you, Fred, if that's what you think you should do.
what are your thoughts, Shane, do you?
I can go either way. I know we also talked about only minimizing the number of people who went so that the homeowner didn't feel overwhelmed. So, I mean, I'm fine not to go. But I can also respect if you want to go with the 2 of them and then it's 3 people, it's not 5 people. And we'll trust you to bring back the information to us on the new growth. Is that reasonable?
And if I could add to that, you have been here longer than us, so our input is interesting, but not what's the word I want, accurate as to what was done. You
Right,
see,
but both of you have, I guess I would say have a, just like I do, have a base to come from to say, you know. This is what a B looks like, cause I live in a B or an A, and if I go look at another one, I mean, you're gonna kind of. Back your mind to compare it to say, you know. Using yours, Jane's example, okay, B, you know, yours is a B, and you go to another one, and you're gonna say, well, how does that compare to mine? Is it better or worse? And then that would make a,
That'd make a
I guess
popular argument, sure.
argument, whereas, RRG, I don't know what they would compare to, other than with their experience, I guess,
Right.
on assessing properties.
yes, well, and all the guidelines they use to do that.
So here's just a thought. You've been in my house, you've been in Mike's house. If you go and inspect the new growth. You can very easily say, well, Jen, your kitchen had X and this kitchen had X plus Z, so therefore it's. You know, it's not very good, it's excellent, or with, you know, the same, using Mike's house has got a higher grade than mine.
Yeah.
Cause you're pulling from a wealth of knowledge, so I can understand, I feel like. I would be jumping in the middle of something. I would love at some point for somebody to walk me through some houses. To point out this is this, I mean, we're having a discussion today about, I'd have to look at my notes, but about grades and conditions and changes in houses. But I feel like I have so much still to learn, but I can certainly respect you wanting to be there.
But if you don't start looking somewhere, you're not gonna get that experience, kind of, it's.
I don't have a problem with new houses, looking at new houses, that's much easier in my mind to.
I mean, I'm fine, if you want me to be there, I'll be there.
But again, I want to bring this point up with David and Derek, comparing to other homes in the past. I think good general appraisal guidelines use proven data to come up with the best we can, a proven value, and that could be argued all day long. Those guidelines aren't gonna change because Fred's been here for 30 years, he just brings more experience than us two do. But when it comes down to, okay, we have to make a decision. Let's compare it to Jane's house, well, that's used in current guidelines, we've been using for years. Which one are you gonna use? Or are you gonna use both?
Well,
Probably both.
particularly in your neighborhood, we get a new house, we're gonna look at the houses surrounding it, we're gonna cheat, we're gonna use, based on the grades that we see there
Right.
in the neighborhoods. What Fred Hank's talking about is going out in the areas where there's been a new house put in,
Right,
that hasn't been there. Like,
Weber Road or
I don't
something.
know what the roads around here, so I'm not gonna try and get. Like that Cape we went to the other, that one that was wrong on,
North Street,
the one that had the two, only had one story and it should have been two.
Oh, that was up on Haydenville Road.
Haydenville Road,
Yeah, that was a complete,
yeah.
we just missed that.
But we were able to look at that, and there were some other capes in the area that we were able to take a look at and come up with grades that were similar. And the biggest thing there was the condition of the property. We wanted to make sure that was whatever. Good, bad, or different compared to the others. We picked up the cathedral ceilings and things like that, so yes, all those are things with standard do.
Nice.
We're gonna look in the in a particular neighborhood, we're gonna look and see what we come up with.
Okay.
Now, I would suggest this if you like. We have 3 or 4 houses in there that are new. Why don't we take a Thursday afternoon and whoever wants to, we'll set that Thursday afternoon up and we'll send a letter to those 3 or 4 houses individually. And tell them we're gonna be out that day and there'll be. Yeah, if we all go, we're not all going in the house.
No, all right,
no, we look outside of it.
sure.
Yeah, so would that work for you?
Well. Yes, that would, but are you sending? A letter to the others that aren't new at the same time? That should come and look.
What I'm
that's-
saying,
It's just 3 houses. you
what I'm
talked about.
saying is, we'll send a letter to the ones that aren't new.
Yeah,
For the permits, the way we're planning on doing it, those 3 days that we've selected, and we'll pick a Thursday afternoon and go and look at the 3 or 4 houses with you.
yeah, okay, but you gotta emphasize that. We wanna go inside,
Yeah,
right, cause otherwise, I mean, we can all drive by and see it, but we'll look at the building permit, I guess, but.
you mean the new houses?
New houses, yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, well, I put in here that if we're gonna decide a house to look at something, we're gonna we wanna take a look at the whole house if possible.
right, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah,
I'm okay
that would
with that.
work with me, so one,
Okay.
yeah,
Alright, then we'll, Derek and I will work on that the next couple of days and pull them out, and then we'll talk to you about a particular day.
There's
Okay.
one Thursday that I'm going to be away in July. We have a camp rental in New Hampshire. I'll email you that Thursday, cause that one, I won't be in town.
Alright.
okay.
Our first opportunity for virtual.
Oh, okay,
Do
so.
an inspection virtually, I think.
So,
It could be challenging.
yeah, this would be one of the.
Let's get the girl cam on my head for.
Really.
No problem.
One of the 3 days in July, look at now, Jane, is that the 3 days they got July, is that?
No, so those are Mondays and Fridays. We set that up specifically, so it wasn't on any of the town scheduling time. What we're talking about is taking a Thursday around this
Thursday, okay,
and going out to do the new houses.
okay. Let's just ask Jane what Thursday we could.
I'm free, Fred, this, I got nothing big going on Thursdays, matter of fact, I can keep Thursdays.
So the Thursday that I'm out of town is July 17th.
Do it July 17th then.
Pardon me?
Yeah, right, we'll schedule for that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, so we'll do that.
Tuesday, July 17th.
No, not July 17th, we'll work around that. We'll talk.
Around that, so the other ones that you're going to look at based on permits. Is the letter gonna say that you wanna go inside to look?
The letter, did you not get the letter?
Well, let's see which letter we talking to, we got a cyclical and we got one of
Is the one that's not cyclical?
This one.
it was in your,
Oh, I'm sorry, this one, gotcha.
Yeah, the one that doesn't have any letter heading or anything. It says
Gotcha.
owner name, parcel location, parcel ID and date on the top left.
yeah, okay, that's the one you're gonna use now for the permit ones.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing, okay, permits issued from. Okay, so are we ready to discuss this letter then?
Which you want to do first, the second one or the inspections?
The inspection one here, the permit inspections. Okay, issues from anyone, is there a cutoff date? What's the end date for this, June 30 of 25?
For the inspections, for the permits,
Permits,
the plan was we get this, if you approve this letter, we'll send it out and we'll break them up into 3 separate areas. And then we'll pick out either the 11th, 14th or 18th
yeah,
of July to get them out there to the people.
yeah,
So it'll be during July, we'll have them done during July.
yeah, I understand that, but is there a cutoff date for the inspections? I mean, the list you shared with us goes through 2025. Got May on here,
So we can let June in, but I mean, it's hardly worth it.
but it's through June, right?
Yeah.
It should, okay. And in that order, unfinished, okay. Okay, I guess that's more for, I guess, my discussion with you rather than the property owner.
Yeah.
You're going through June 30th of 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. And we schedule visit on. Vacancies about. Thursday. Just the rest of it was okay. Okay, that means anybody have. Comments on it?
Do they know, when you send us out, they know who RRG is? Let me rephrase that. This letter is gonna just say RRG.
What's RRG, our assessment services provider?
It's,
I would suggest writing out Regional
Right,
Resources
that's off the bat.
Incorporated, because
they won't know who RRG is.
Okay.
That's all. Unless that's gonna take another 2 weeks, and that's the case, we don't want to wait any longer.
This is mine.
This is,
This will be done tonight.
okay, good. Okay.
you might insert the area code in front of the number, because there are a number of people here who don't have a 413 number.
Okay,
So they have to dial all 10 digits.
not a problem.
That would be me.
Yeah, you're.
Me too.
Well, that's
That's a good extension for as well.
It's the questionnaire, because it's in a particular cellular format with all of this, that's the harder.
Gotcha. I just didn't wanna, because it looked good to me, I didn't wanna delay anything.
David, would you want to insert building in front of permits? The Board of Assessors will be reviewing building permits.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
And what I'm gonna do, this is gonna be a mail merge and we will send it out as a letter, not a postcard.
You send a letter, okay, it would be on town letterhead.
Yep.
Do you want a closing on it? You know, sincerely. Whately, BOA, we started off with a greeting as a letter, so do you want a closing of some sort?
Okay. So just put,
I don't know.
Whately Assessors, Town of Whately, anything,
Best
whatever you
regards,
think.
Assessor's office.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Nice and simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Simple is always better.
Do you wanna say what hours of the day you'd be there? You don't say that, you're, what do people assuming you're coming anytime? Do you wanna say 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or?
I was saying 9, yeah, we will.
So, well, you're gonna put it in the blank, right? Your neighborhood is scheduled to be visited on this date, blank to blank, so you can put it right there, right?
Yeah.
You write in July 11th between
Yeah, that's fine.
8 and 12 or 9 and 1 or
That's what that was
whatever.
for, right? Yeah, that, like,
Yeah, that's
That's
perfect,
okay.
like, yeah, we just do date, time.
Yeah,
Visit.
that's fine, or time slot. Climate weather.
And we'll invite them to call us if they want a particular time.
Sure, yeah, it's just that hour you were coming, whether you like it or not, but we're being polite about it. That's what we're doing.
Really the reality.
I'm gonna be playing all the time, and we will let the police know, and we will use the signposts, like, things on the side of the door.
Yeah, I like that. I like everything about this.
Okay.
In terms of being, transparent, parent upfront, showing who we are, all those things.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that too. I might have said it to you earlier, Mike, but I did speak with the chief today, told him
Yes.
what our plan was, and it was for.
He was good with
He
that.
was very happy about that.
Yeah,
Just to email him as we're going out,
Sure.
let him know what streets, Santa's been doing.
so he doesn't get surprised.
No, Jim was very good about it.
I bet he was.
Okay, and these would go out like, if you have your owner's name, okay, because the applicant is sometimes different than the owner.
And yeah, no, I'm not gonna send them to builders.
You sent it to the actual, yeah, the owner, makes sense. Builders would care less about this letter, would they?
And if, you'll tell us on the 18th. Then you responded to what you're gonna do. Next, well, on the next meeting, right, okay.
Okay.
So you know. You don't ask for it, well. Not available.
The letter's as friendly oriented as you can, yeah, really. It's very,
I played with this a little bit at home and
Which,
the permit one. And how you had said only two people will be doing them and both will have company identifications. I named you guys first. I said. The inspectors are Derek Ruder and David Burgess, and they will have an RRG issued identification. Kind of like who you are and then what you're going to have, rather than saying what you're gonna have and then your names.
okay,
Um,
do you wanna give the Terry?
that's what how I played around with it a little bit.
I'm sorry, was that French?
No, that was an English teacher.
Oh, I see. She's actually home to the already. So you already did a reprint on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I took it and messed with it.
We're with you, Jane.
What else you have? Anything else?
No, I just thought rather than say two people will be doing them, say who they are.
What letter am I on? Does it
The
says,
same one, the permits. building
but
permits.
it says it. The inspections are Derek, so one might.
Right, but it says only two people will be doing them. Say, and so instead of saying only two people will be doing
Yeah,
them,
their
say
names
the
are-
inspections will be conducted by
All
Derek Ruder and David Burgess. And both will have RRG identification,
I like it, and it simplifies it, so
Yeah,
that's good,
so.
that's good.
As a friend of mine once said, these are my words, not my.
Somebody else may go in your office. Somebody else may wanna come too, so you never know.
Well,
I like that. It's simple.
but if the new house ones, they were gonna send a specific letter to them.
Yeah, we're different, yeah,
We'll take care of that as well.
yeah, okay.
All right, that's a hard one.
Okay, on this one, you wanna go to the other?
You can.
I'm good on this. We don't need a motion, do we?
No,
Okay, so we're good on this one.
No, we're good. I just actually see if there's anything else you wanna, I was just trying to add the changes and
Okay,
just
I mean,
discuss.
does
So-
that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely perfect. So if there's anything beyond that. Is there anything else I missed on that, or that's what we have
I
to
don't,
change,
I
right?
think that's it, cause I just,
You've already put the region.
I just wrote that out.
Yeah. no,
I
get it.
wrote out like Whately Police Department and then put Police Department there, just. Yeah,
And then obviously with the, we'll put the date.
right,
And
insert
the-
date.
the- So we're doing that date, we're gonna be the 11th, 14th, or 18th, will be available.
We'll do one for each, we'll split up three groups, and we'll do the rest of it.
Yeah, and then the time would be between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so the time wouldn't be specific.
Yeah, no, just like your window that you're out there doing it.
So perfect, and all of that.
Next one is for the,
cyclical.
yeah, that list though, that you sent me, the cyclical list. I'm stunned at how big that was. Didn't you send,
I didn't give one.
Derek, can you send us cyclical, was it?
The meeting before,
Yeah, the meeting before.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, man, I was not up with my emails, okay. It was a lot.
That was the one where, yeah, it started with like 16 pages, I condensed to like
Yeah.
12, changed the borders, and I ended up with like 4 pages. So if you remember, I said, I think you had actually printed it yourself, because I don't think I actually printed them. If I remember, I did just that one initial on the page to give you an idea as to what it looked like.
Well, I
Oh,
only
that's good.
printed one page because I wanted to
Yeah,
be able
it's too
to.
much.
I would just thought it was a lot, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
Well, no, this was the latest, was all on one page, right? Okay.
I think he was talking, Fred, about
not the
the,
questionnaire. right?
not the
And
questionnaire, but,
The listing printout on the SIP, all the SIP.
Oh, the listing.
so the listing.
Yeah, okay. yeah.
536 or something like that, I just find that.
Yeah, so, well, before we get into the list on there, let's talk about the questionnaire
Sure.
form. You made some changes, I suggested some changes that. And. I don't know if they're. What you guys think?
Of course, before you go there, Brett, Derek, you had mentioned trying to change the bottom part of this was extremely problematic.
Yeah, it's complicated because from top to bottom, this is broken up almost in your Excel sense. It's in a cellular form, so it's not as simple as just delete and retype something else.
Repositioning.
As you move it around, it changes the entire structure of it. So like this here, taking from the, I think it was the second or third revision we did, I sat with Josh on Friday. And this took us a couple hours to go through. This was like, I think, the fourth revision we did on this one. So going through and trying to format, and when we did this, we went off of everything that you folks had mentioned in the last meeting to change. And we've altered all of that to this form here, so if there is anything else that we need to change, just kind of keeping in mind that it has to be somewhat within the form that we have there to keep it on the one page.
We have time for that, because you're not starting that for another month or so, right?
Well, yeah, we can table this, you know, right?
Cyclical, yeah. Yeah, I suggested some changes, and I think David sent response back to my suggestions, some of them, now, I don't know if you agreed with the other ones I was proposing or not.
Oh, I only addressed the home business kitchens and then, the
Second home,
in-law apartment, yeah.
home businesses and extra kitchens. And you're saying that would alert us that there's another apartment, another unit, living unit there.
Possibly, or a home business, that maybe for personal property.
Okay,
Just a little piece of-
do you get much of a response on that question, say from other towns? Did you
Well-
hear much? Did anybody ever comment on that?
Fred, I don't know, this is not something I usually work with,
Oh, okay,
that'd be lying, I told you anything else.
yeah. Okay,
But correct me if I'm wrong, this is much more informational type, more than we've ever sent out this town. We just sent out this little yellow thing.
right,
This is much more than that. That yellow, I can see where people get that little yellow thing, and just throw it away.
yeah,
Cause I just got a yellow thing for jury duty Greenfield, and I threw it away.
Yeah.
That's,
we're over the age limit too, aren't you?
I don't know. I
I
was
think
supposed
so,
to.
yeah.
I should,
There's an age limit, jury duty?
is there?
70, is it 65 or
I think
70?
it's 70.
That's always a nice thing. Okay, didn't mean to get off that. So getting back to this, we could tweak this until we're blue. And still not be done. Point is, we're making a transparent attempt to follow our mission statement. And be as equitable as we can. And the start of that equitable position is simply, hi, how are you? We're gonna be there. And, you know, we could, you name it, we could do something to this. But it does create the opening that we're looking for in a diplomatic way. And so therefore I like it.
Well, I made some suggestions here that, first, after the first sentence, that we should say that. Especially those that have not been inspected recently. I mean, just clarifies what we're looking at, and then, saying information will be used to verify and update our property record card, which is available to all on their website.
Well, I think maybe with that side of it, as I had mentioned to Jane, is something that if you can format a paragraph that you want to go with it, that I can reach out to Jessica and have her post that on the website itself.
I'll put that after the first sentence and.
No, putting it on the website rather than the letter.
Right, so again, what I'm getting at is like with what you just said, Fred, that was about probably about 30, 40 words. That's gonna change the entire structure. And so, and I'm not trying to harp on this, but I really do wanna point it out. This, to get to this, from the 4 visions that we had to do over the course of the week with the changes, was well over 8 hours of work from Josh and I sitting and going through it and trying to reformat. So I'm also trying to keep this time-wise that it makes sense. So I guess I would just ask, as you go through to edit, keep in mind how much time I actually have within the course of the week to get all this done. And keep up on the work as well. This particular week, in making sure that we can catch up, I put in probably 24, 25 hours just in Whately. So well over the contract, well over my initial hours. I'm happy to make the changes, but from our standpoint, we made all the changes that were requested. We have everything in here that is needed for it. So if there's anything specific that you as a board feel is gonna alter this to make the resident feel more comfortable, my thought on that and speaking with Jane on it was to put something on the website.
Do you use this letter in other towns?
We do, not this particular that,
Similar.
like this, the one that we initially started with.
Similar.
Yeah, the one that we initially started with, I've used for 4 other towns, and we simply had to change the letterheading. And change who the town was on,
That's it.
other than that.
It opens the door.
I'm not against making changes, all I guess I'm asking is, maybe as a board, look through it, and if there's something you wanna change. If you can be agreeable to this, but if you 3 can come up with a finality for what you want there.
So we're not doing this.
Then I'm more than okay with approaching Josh one more time on it. But beyond that, I mean, there's just this
Okay.
time to be doing 3, 4 hours a
Sure.
day of back and forth.
Well, I sent my suggested changes to the other 2 board members and I didn't hear anything, so I don't know whether you agree or not.
I didn't respond because I thought that what we had was fine.
Okay.
And that additional input from me was not gonna get us anywhere, and I think we put enough energy into this, but
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and
why,
again, I'm
that's
just
why.
sharing my side on it.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what Josh has here. In my eyes, as I said, which was the final revision on it. If there is something you really feel is pertinent in there, I'm more than open to changing that. So where we're not getting right out on these, I would suggest maybe take the week or 2 to really maybe go back and forth between the 3 of you and come up with what you feel, hey, this is
Right.
something that we really think should be in there. And then, of course, we're gonna be more than accommodated to get it done. I just don't wanna be, I, for lack of a better way to put it, but wasting hours and time on a non-productive side, from what I could get done for you as a town.
That's a reasonable request.
So that's all I would ask is that if you can go and come up with a finality
Right.
of what you like, present it to me. I can go up to Leominster with Josh and sit with him for a couple hours and reformat and get it exact. I mean, this, as I said in the response, this covered everything that you were looking for what we spoke last time. So that's all I would ask, as you know, to you as the board, is just to take the time to make sure that if we do it again, that this is, okay, this covers everything that we need.
Yeah, if I could reiterate just a bit. So instead of us telling you, this is what we'd like to see, come back and change, telling you, so like this, just throw it in our hands and say. Write what you wanna see and give it to us.
Correct, so part of that gets lost in the translation. Like,
it's lost.
you have an idea, Jane has an idea, Fred has an idea, you give it to me, I put it down, and then you're reading it going, no, that's not what I was thinking. I'm not gonna be able to know, obviously, how you're seeing it, so I'm just asking, put it in the exact form that you want. And then I can get that to him, you know, or where you want changes, you know, similar to what you and I did initially, Jane, of if there's something you feel needs to be changed. Cross it, rewrite it above so I know, and then I can sit with him and I can get the whole thing you know.
And again, for me, this opens the door, but go ahead, Fred, what
I
is it? that
sent
you don't like?
comments a week or two ago, and you're acting like you never saw them and never got them. I don't know what else to do, resend them again,
Well,
and furthermore. I can't edit or do anything with this form that you send because it's a PDF. I
Okay,
don't
and-
have the PDF package on my computer or phone even, so all I can do is read it. Copy and paste maybe, and that's what I did, copied and pasted on an email message. I don't know what else to do, I can't edit or do anything with this, so if you're asking me to do that. Forget it, it's not gonna come from us.
And we put it in Word.
You put it in Word. You know, David sent something in, well, this other one was, I think this was Word, the building permits one, that was a Word document, right? Where we could edit and look at it.
I think,
This one, you know,
Go ahead, Jane, what did you want to say?
I think what Derek was saying is because this is done in cells. It couldn't be sent in a Word document so that you could edit it. And I'm sorry I didn't respond to your comments when you sent it. I said it looked good to me and that you had, you know, gotten solar and generator and mini splits that Fred had wanted. And so
yeah,
then Fred made a bunch of comments and I didn't respond to those because I didn't know that I was supposed to. And I understand what Derek is saying about this being in cells and because I think I actually had said something too, well, could you add this and this? And you said, no, we wanna keep it to one page.
well,
And that's
for the
when,
simplicity of, right, of
Right.
your residents, but,
Yeah.
I can, and I do know the email you're talking about, Fred, that was sent on Friday night at 8:30. So I didn't get a chance to look at that until Monday, because I was trying to get all of those vacants caught up. I'm happy to go through and look at the email, and go back through if there's anything that I can fit in there.
look, if David did respond, I agree with some of what David said, but he didn't address it.
Yeah,
All of
and
this.
again, it's not about not addressing you, Fred, but at 8:30 on a Friday night, my work week is well over.
I
We'll
didn't-
address it on Monday.
I didn't expect an answer that night, just was convenient for me to do it, but at that hour. It is my understanding that a PDF document can be saved in Word and other languages or other formats that you want. That you need the PDF, the full PDF package, which costs several $100s and is renewable every year for about the same price, allows you to format, save documents in other forms, other formats. And that's what I was getting at, or when I say, send this in a Word document. Because you should be able to do that, I'm 90% sure you can do that with a PDF. You
Okay,
can save it in something else, if you have that full package, and I don't.
no, I don't have that either.
Well,
Let me,
a lot of offices do, I don't know if the town here probably does.
yeah, let me reach out to Josh on that, cause he's
So-
gonna be more familiar on that side of the technology and see if he
Yeah.
can get that to you in PDF.
Yeah.
Don, so you don't want it PDF, you want it as Word.
Well, if you want us to add it on a document, otherwise I'm gonna give you my comments in an email, and you gotta go type them in,
All
if
right,
you agree.
does the board agree with your comments?
I don't know,
I would,
nobody said anything.
Well, and again, I wanna, remember, we're all in the same
Yeah,
team here, so I'm trying to work with you. The reason I mentioned, Fred, about you and the board going on, it was that specific reason, is that if I'm getting 3 different ideas on here, we're gonna keep going on this.
Yeah.
And
right, I
so,
understand what
so the
you're saying,
reason,
okay.
and the only reason I mentioned it for the 3 of you
Yeah.
to discuss it, okay, here's what we wanna go with, and then
Yeah.
give me the ideas. I can go back through this afterwards. All I meant, and what I was saying to you was specifically of if there's something you wanted to take it out, take it out.
Okay.
Right, this is what we want in there, and then that way I know what to do with it.
Yeah,
If I go, what I was referring to is if I take your email and I open it up and I try to translate that onto here, I can 100%, not 90%, 100% guarantee you it's not gonna look the same as what you're thinking. And that's all I was asking for, was the clarity. If you folks can agree on what you want, let me know. I'll find a way to format it with Josh, absolutely.
Fred, is there some time that you and Mike and I could sit down with your ideas and with what's here? Because I'm thinking there may be a way to condense some of this.
Exactly,
To
that's all I'm
make
asking.
space
the
for
three of
what
you to
you're
come up
trying-
with.
What you would like to include. Now, the safety thing, maybe be able to be tightened up by, moving words around and to
Yeah.
still,
Uh,
I mean, I'm willing to do that if you and Mike have some time to sit down and I know we don't. The cyclical doesn't happen for a while, so I mean, in the next week or week and a half. To come over here some afternoon or morning, evening for a couple of hours and.
I was trying to simplify this, to getting our comments, I don't mind, but you and Mike's. Without actually meeting, because if we do what you're saying is we have to post that as a meeting. If the three of us get together, officially it's a meeting of the board, it has to be
Okay.
posted.
Sorry,
Whether it's in this room or at Mike's house or my house or whatever, it has to be posted. I was kind of overlooking that and saying, well, this is a document that we need to, we should discuss in email, we can discuss it in email. Not agree on the final, but at least discuss it in email and hear other people's comments and do that.
Would you wanna try and bring it back to the next meeting and finish it up then?
Well, we could do that. The other option is you could send documents to all the board members, the three of us. But the response has to come back to only the sender or the chair. So if you want to comment, you just send it to me, not to Mike. If
Right.
Mike wants to comment, he send it to me.
That's
And
a
then
change.
I'll see it, put it together, and I guess I could send you guys another version or tell you at the next meeting what comments I received. That's the way of getting around the
Okay,
open
so-
meeting law.
if I type this up in Word,
Yeah,
okay, and I send it to you,
yeah,
okay. You can open it in Word and
Yeah.
you can add in what you want to be in there.
Right.
Okay, I'm willing to type that up in Word and send it.
okay,
Okay, I'll do it as a Word attachment.
right, okay,
And then you can
I know he was trying to think of something.
add to it whatever
right.
and send it back to me. And I'll see if I can take any words
Sure,
out,
yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that. Some of what you're saying may fit in that top part, if
Top part,
we
yeah.
can tighten up. Does that,
Yeah, that would work, yeah.
okay,
But you only can do it to me, not to Mike, otherwise it's an open meeting.
Right.
right, so
that
I'll
works
send
for
it to
me.
you.
Yeah.
And you can. Then you
Yeah.
can send it to Mike and
Yeah.
we'll just keep track of who sent it. We got
Yeah.
a few weeks to do
I,
this.
I didn't respond, I probably should have responded, but I didn't think there was all that much wrong with the original version. I just felt it was in line with what we're trying to do as a board, which is be fair and equitable, but.
I would love to see something on the webpage that assessing involves 3 levels of inspections. There's, if you've had a permit and new growth, there's an inspection. There's a 10-year cyclical inspection. I guess that's it. It's just,
It's sales.
it's in sales. So that somebody who doesn't know anything about this can see. That these are the 3 times that we might ask to come and visit you to be sure that. Everything is fair and equitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
All right, I'll play around with writing something like, you gotta remember, I know the least of the 5
Oh,
people
no,
in
you're the
this
best,
room.
you're the best in
But
that.
Other towns have something like that.
They do. Other towns, I've looked at other towns' websites. Greenfield is a good one.
I'm gonna have to leave you,
Okay,
but I've enjoyed this, as we better laid out meeting and we've worked well on it, and we're getting somewhere.
I think so.
And that's good, so
Yeah.
let's keep it going that way. We'll be
Okay.
great.
Right,
All
But
right,
if not before, I'll see you on the 24th.
yeah,
Well,
24.
I'll see you before 24th, but we're going over those houses.
right, tell us what your schedule.
Three
is.
houses that we want, yeah,
Right,
3 or 4.
Yeah.
whatever.
okay.
Hey, David.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you
Okay,
too.
Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Don't do anything I wouldn't.
yeah, that's
Right.
fine. Okay, so
And I
let's
was
get,
just glancing back at that email, I do like the part you had in the bold on the top, the only thing I would suggest when you go to rewrite it is where we're saying. Especially those that haven't been inspected, maybe to the points that you're making, Fred, be very specific on. The cyclicals are for properties that have not been inspected in 10 years. So that there's no ambiguity to your resident at all,
Right.
you know,
How do you spell cyclical?
SYC,
Oh,
Yes.
SYC
LICAL.
LICAL.
Oh, I'm sorry, CY.
I was thinking to myself, no way.
I told you last week I was a terrible
I
speller,
could just
so
feel it, you know, you can feel it, like something's off on that, so.
I would have believed you.
But thing is, on this letter and somewhere else in the contract talks about 10-year cycle. I've brought that up in other meetings, these roundtables, Franklin County, and even with other assessors. And majority of them say, there's no such requirement. There's no requirement the state asks you to do it on a 10-year cycle. And I say, well, we've been asked to do it by our chief. And he said, that's not true. There's no requirement that you have to inspect on a 10-year cycle. Deerfield doesn't do any inspections at all until you have a new house built.
Really?
That's it.
That was a state.
It's not a 10-year cycle.
Huh, yeah, I was told that every when I
You were
started.
told, and we were told the same thing, but
Was any property has to be reviewed with, like, if it's been 10 years, there has to be at very least
It's like
a drive-by view, there has to be something.
Something in our training.
The visit.
I think it's in
It's our
that
training.
101.
Yeah. it's in
So-
101.
Yeah, so the cyclical, this might be what they're missing in that, but the main thing that they have to have with DOR, this is what I was explaining with the
Yeah.
cyclical, is the visit history has got to be every 10 years. When you get beyond 10 years with a visit history entered,
Yeah,
that's when it starts to give them the red flag. And again,
visit history.
this is, you know, this is a third party,
Yeah,
if
it's
you will,
interesting.
because this is what my company's explained to me, so.
and I understand it, and I guess you could search the DOR.
Oh, that's interesting.
Website to see if it says that, and there's other towns that tell me it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that whatever cycle we're on is what we do, and there's no requirement to do it in 10 years. Other towns in Franklin County say that,
Well, we gotta look at
So-
that, Fred, because we were trained on 101 training on that.
well, yeah.
As I remembered it.
Okay,
No, I was not gonna say I'm with Jane, where I'm just
so to
starting.
say it's a statutory mandate, from where? I guess that should be written, if it's a mandate, it should be in DOR website somewhere.
Yeah, no,
Somewhere
I'll
it
reach
says
out
that.
to, well, I'll reach out to Josh, cause he's the one that's been doing it for 20 years
Well,
now.
ask them,
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
okay,
So on the questionnaire that I will hold to hear back on thoughts, and then like I said, send me what you have on that. And Jane, and then I'll go through that with Josh to reformat and get out, cause I'm guessing we're not gonna get to these for at least a month.
Yeah.
Right, cause obviously we wanna catch all the new growth first.
yeah, cause you've got, if you do the growth ones, what are you talking about, 30, 40?
I think that's about what we had.
Okay, and
That's my goal.
okay. Have you thought yet of the cyclical ones, how you're gonna do that? What's your approach to the 500? You're not gonna, I don't know, are you doing all 500 or what?
So ideally, what we do with the cyclical
Yeah.
is I'll go through that once Josh gives it to me. I separate the vacant, all the vacant land ones, we generally go on Access GSI.
Yeah.
Or near map, one of those, we verify them on that. And then we go out to do all of your residential. And we usually break that down by street.
Yeah, okay,
So it's kind of like, like when I did Conway's, basically pulling up the map of your town, Fred, and kind of
Yeah.
going, like, cause I don't know the streets around here,
Yeah.
and that's where I can definitely get input from you folks, especially.
Yeah.
You having lived here, like,
that.
if you had, like, what did you say earlier, was it Haydenville Road?
Yeah,
So say if I was like, all right, I'm gonna start in Haydenville, what roads are near there?
Yeah.
So the idea, we don't wanna waste, I don't wanna waste your time or ours.
Sure.
I mean, I know it's all contracted, but, going, 10 minutes this way, just to come back 10 minutes, to go back 10 minutes. So ideally, we tried to set it up to go street after street.
It's funny you should mention that because I said I didn't want to be in the inspections, but I thought that might be the case and I was just gonna offer, I'll drive you guys there, I won't go in. Because you haven't been around, but David's been around, he should know. But in case you need that, I would offer that, sure, as you start, because there's places all the time.
Well, and that's what, when Jane was talking, that's what I was kind of thinking along the lines that you said was. Cause I went out and did this in the beginning, like, you don't need to know or say anything as much as I'm a believer in doing, so if. If she's there and watches the inspection,
Sure.
you can learn so much more
Yeah.
sometimes just by being in the real state of it, so. Okay, so the questionnaire, are we in agreement then that, you folks can do a little back and
Yeah.
forth, let me know if you want the changes?
But still getting back to the numbers, from 500, you may get half of that, that's 200 or 300 you're looking at. Once you take out your other land values and vacants, I don't know.
Could I step back just a bit, Fred? I asked Google about what you just said on the 10-year list. And there's a state mandate through the state of Massachusetts that requires inspections of all properties to be within a 10-year cycle. And the law requires assessors to inspect every property at least once every 10 years. So you said you had not heard that others are doing that or?
No, others are saying there's no such mandate.
No.
Or
Either
they're
the
ignoring it, I
Either
guess.
the internet's wrong or, so it looks like there's a mandate.
What is that on? What website?
Well, Google.
Google?
If Google says it's gotta be correct, right?
Yeah, but what's it from the?
Yeah, it says, I asked, does Massachusetts require assessors to inspect every 10 years? And it said, yes. In Massachusetts, the law requires assessors to inspect every property at least once every 10 years.
Oh, yeah, so
This is part of the 612 inspection program mandated by the state's Department of Revenue. These inspections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
No,
But
that's,
there is a state
that's a good
mandate
note to
that
have,
has,
so that we do.
whoever's telling you that may not
Okay,
give you the, at least according to this.
okay, okay, fine, okay. Now let's Jared find something
Unless he
else.
finds
but-
something. It's interesting.
Oh,
could be
cause
in
you
the
read
verbiage.
these, that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
what's
Could be
this
a
one
verbiage
capitalized?
to reach out once every 10 years versus inspect. I don't know. Could be the verbiage.
Or a new house, you have to do it within 10 years. or something.
Yeah. Could be something there. Yeah. But
No, I'll ask Josh anyways.
for the most part, I'd be surprised if it's anything other than what we're supposed to do every 10 years, or at least within 10 years.
Okay, what
Okay,
else?
so we're past the letter. Okay, good.
Okay,
I believe unless you folks have any new business or anything unanticipated, that would cover what I had on the agenda.
okay, how about, you got any emails or mail since our last meeting that we need to be aware of?
In particular, a letter from an attorney.
No. No,
Wait,
just the typical, as I was mentioning, when you guys came in, just that, and I was talking to Jane over a lot, just typical that I'm at this point kind of expecting of, hey, I got like 3 that came in on while we're sitting here of, hey, so-and-so came in about their abatement, so-and-so's looking for their abatement. That seems to be the biggest thing, so getting this over to Jennifer is gonna be a huge thing to clear that up.
Good.
Most of the emails other than that I get is like your appraisers requesting like a property card or something like that to be sent over to them. All pretty basic stuff, but
Appraisers asked for that. They can get that from you?
oh, yeah,
And-
yes, it's all public
I
record.
was gonna say, they can't just download, the property
Right,
card.
they get that on.
They can't get the whole property card. They can get a version of it.
They can get a version, but most of them, what they're looking to do is they're looking to be able to have the sketch that's on there.
Right.
So that when they're going to appraise, they have
Obviously,
a
a
better
sale of
understanding.
property or a
Right.
mortgage coming up, right?
So we get this sketch in online.
You do, what, if you look at our property card, Fred, it's much more involved than if you go to the
Right.
website, and try to
Yeah.
download, yeah, we do get a sketch, yeah.
And it's all linear, the description is all linear down below.
Right,
Just,
got
you can click on the tab for sketch or something. Yeah,
I just, because when I wanted to get an actual property card, actually I wanted to get it for you for some reason. You couldn't get her property card without coming in and asking for it. You could get a version of it online, but not the whole card.
So.
It's no big deal, we don't need that.
Under new business, I would like to see us to try to work on a web page. If we have time in coming months, so that if someone were to say, well, I don't understand this, that you can refer them to that. You know, like what I was just saying, the new growth, the sales, the cyclical inspection, once we find out for sure that has to be done.
I think it does.
But just,
I mean, I know from going on, there is an assessor section on your
There
website,
is.
right,
same as for the
I
others.
think we have a FA, a fax. Thought we might have had one of those too. Anyways, we do have a nice
And I mean,
website.
I
so
know
far.
I need to go, I should go out and look at Deerfield and Conway and, you know, other
Their
small
website.
towns,
I've done
just
that. It's
to see
interesting.
what they have, but I think anything we could do,
well, we started that, remember this?
yes, we did start that.
We never finished though, because we had too many comments. I don't know if this was before Derek's time or not.
Yes, that was something Stephen,
Yeah, I know, I haven't seen that.
And I saw it on another town's website somewhere. Whether it was Orange or Montague or somewhere. Where else are you dealing with Orange?
No, Conway.
Green, they
No, but
did
no,
Greenfield.
your RG is,
Oh, we do orange, yeah.
Yeah.
He used to do Greenfield, because they have a nice site.
no.
We actually, we've just ended with.
Yeah, so I've seen that. Okay,
And I think we just picked up, West Brookfield. We just picked up a couple out there in Central Mass.
And to Jane's request, yeah, anything that we can do that isn't complicated but simple, but can help the taxpayer understand what it is we do and how we're trying to do it is great. The mission statement's on there, the sales are on there. There's a little blurb on there on, as I believe what we do, almost positive, you know. Greenfield has a nice blurb on there as to what assessors do and what they don't do. For instance, Greenfield says, we do not create value. I thought, well, that's
do
great.
not create what?
Assessors don't create value.
Oh.
That's what Greenfield site
Yeah.
says. Assessors don't create value.
Now, we have
People in their transactions in the marketplace, that creates value. And I thought that was a great line,
That's
because they think we do it. You can almost say, we don't collect taxes. We were at a house when they thought we were collecting taxes. You remember that, Fred, right?
Yeah.
She started crying. We were not there to, and so, yeah, the Greenfield, oh, she was just, there's more, so we don't need to go there. Anyway,
No, we don't have an hour for that.
yeah, really. So, or anything Jane wants to do to enhance that website, I like what I see up there already. There's been great input from our Archie since they took over on that website. So, I'm happy with that. But to enhance that, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, definitely, I like that a lot, being able to. inform the public.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's not like priority number one and all
No,
that stuff,
that's
but
still always.
I
good.
feel like we're making some progress.
But that's also more of an ongoing, right?
Yeah.
Like, one of us comes in one day, hey, you're not gonna leave, look what, one of the meetings, hey, this is what I saw
Yeah, yeah.
online, what do you guys think, how do you feel about this, and add it on,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
stuff.
No, I'm all
Especially
for
if
that.
we can put like any links, any hyperlinks
That's right.
in there, where it can bring them to something on the,
Sure.
mass.gov page that would
Yeah.
make sense for them, so, yeah, I like that.
Average, yeah, there's a ton of things we could do there. But again, it's keeping in line with our goals and our mission. Which anything in that would be in line with it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
let me just show you guys one thing that. I talked with Derek and David about last week. I know we got a subject to the greenhouses.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
We did a printout of greenhouses in a town 5 years ago.
For all those greenhouses,
These are, and we did plastic greenhouses and we have some glass.
flat,
Cause they're different values and we wanted to make sure we were assessing them all the same values.
Yeah.
And I shared this with them and David's gonna at least look at seeing. These need to be updated and valued
right?
or not, or if they're still there or not, so.
That's cool, forget that.
Then what came off of special features, yard item report off of the Patriot cards, right?
Oh, is that where you got it off
Yeah.
Patriot? Oh, cool, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that I'm
Patriot
still
cards.
picking up. Yeah, cause I remember we were talking and I was asking you, like, given all the farms you have around
Yeah.
here, what do you get for greenhouses? I think is what sparked it, but yeah, I mean,
And
because
it
you
saved
have
a
so
bunch
many
of
here.
location for us, so we wouldn't have to look at the card number to see where it's at. She did that, so.
Well, especially, yeah, if you have folks that, you know, aren't currently being assessed or
Yeah.
taxed,
They
they
do the same thing, but.
I'm
storage
sure it's
facilities,
not
if you ask
a
me.
high amount, but.
Whatever
if
else
got
you wanted to say.
100, you know, even if it's 10,
So this came
that's
off
a
of,
lot of revenue.
this came off of Patriot.
Yeah,
I bet there's 1,000 reports on there.
yeah, you can do all kind of sorts.
Did you get in to do this?
No, Cynthia did that once. She did. We didn't have access to it. Just
Still,
like today, we can't get in, we gotta ask David to do
well,
it.
there's probably good reason. for
You
that.
don't have access to getting your Patriot?
No,
Well, it's
No, what
because,
is that?
well, we don't, if we change something.
Oh, okay, so you,
So the system isn't set up to just read only, to my knowledge. Once you're in, you could decide, you know what, my house is an A, I'm gonna make it an F, and get some tax.
yeah, but if you have your own login to go into it, any changes that are made will show that you were the one that was logged in on it.
I understand.
I
If we could get a read only, that'd be great. But one
thought we talked once about that, but we didn't wanna do that, cause
doesn't.
we could
Okay,
by
so
accident. make
Yeah,
changes
yeah, we don't
Or
want that.
whatever, then each of us would have our own
well,
login.
reach out to, I think it's Jason. I think he was the one we were working with the Catalyst, and I'll ask him if there's a way to set that so that when, so, you know, for someone to go on, that it's a read only.
Well, more importantly, I'm heading down this road because there's probably a ton of very productive reports you can generate off of it like this. That could key us in onto areas that have been falling through the cracks. I mean, this is a great idea. You've got all these greenhouses in town and they're not all the same and
There's the value, it varies too, it isn't a whole lot, but.
this took some time.
I mean, I can see if we're around there too, Mike, and see what I can do on myself. I'm sure if I play around, maybe it'll come up.
I wouldn't worry too much.
No, just say when I'm in there, you know, same as anything else, you know.
I haven't
slowly
been
as
here,
we go.
I haven't been here long enough to see what's falling through the cracks anyway, so. I rely on Fred for that.
Trying to think of what else did we look at, well, we did it for Pine Plains Estates, we saw that spreadsheet.
Right.
But, seemed there was something else we were comparing.
May or may not have compared up on Weber Road there, not
Yeah.
Weber,
I don't know,
Dickerson Hill maybe.
can't remember what it was, whether it was garages or something, or. You can do that for
Oh,
garages.
dear, did you wanna see this?
No, he's got a copy of
Oh,
that.
he's got it, okay, okay.
Can do it for garages, I guess, see if you have the value of storage buildings.
Right.
See if you have the same value, because garages vary from. Living space garages to shells,
Right,
good space.
or cedar, leak cedar.
Yeah. There's a big variation of garage, quality of garages. And I don't know, we never looked at,
Just like quality of houses.
that's right, right, so.
Can I backtrack a little bit?
Go ahead.
I'm thinking, my brain is thinking about typing that up. Fred, how are you about if cause I've been working with some women on something else. And we've been doing emails and like that I can change the color and I can add in red and I can do, I'm wondering if that would even be easier than opening and closing Word documents.
Be color coordinate what you're doing, yellow, this is.
Well, I guess if you can do it in Word, I guess, or Excel, you can do that, I don't know. Oh, well, and I understand, in Word, you can also do like a side column of changes. And it will annotate, it will let you type the change in the body of the letter, it will put a line here noting that it's a change, and on the right, it will say, Fred made this change on so and so. Or Jane agreed we need to do this on here, it will tell you the reason, and it will show you the
Hey,
change.
Fred, I'm impressed.
That's, I think you can do that in Word, I don't
I
like,
am too.
I don't like that because I can't.
You sure you're
I
not a
can't see the
computer
whole
teacher
document,
somewhere, Fred?
so.
He's like incognito as a
It's really
computer
good.
teacher.
Give me
He's a geek at heart.
There's some people, a few people do it that way, if they wanna know what changes you make,
Oh,
they'll
that's
show you what
interesting.
changes
Yeah, but-
other people have made. There's that feature, and I think that's in Word, maybe it's PDF, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to Josh to see if he can send that
Yeah.
to you in a Word.
But yeah, if you can color that way, as long as, and as long as it says on the top, edit, you can edit, I guess, enable editing.
Oh, yeah,
I guess
yeah,
If you,
yeah.
if you allow, put that in there, I don't know if that's an option in Word to. Or even Excel is that something you choose or is it automatic?
No, it's not, the enable editing so when you were talking about the read-only enable editing. I believe that is based on, if it's my document and I share it with you,
Right,
I have to choose if I'm sending it. With the editing as the enable editing
right.
or the read-only, so that's up to the sender on that, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I get those.
Because- Cause you
Right,
said.
and somebody sends it to you and then you
Right.
have to click it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Sometimes you go to do it and it'll say read-only form.
Yes.
And that's because the person that sent it to you did not give you the access to
Right.
change it.
Gotcha. Yep, I've seen that.
But there's some of them that, well, yeah, if it's a Excel spreadsheet, yeah. I like to change it to reduce column size or eliminate stuff. like
Yeah,
that.
you see a spreadsheet is,
And-
that's your typical enable or.
Enable.
It never fits on one page, you always
Yeah.
gotta.
And it lets you print, otherwise if you don't do that, sometimes it won't let you print, depending on how your printer is set up, but. Or you can't print from view, you gotta download it, and print. That's the other option, you can view stuff a lot of times, but.
Bet you missed your calling, my man.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I was talking about with the, with like you said, both because of how many there is, so all that information has to get extracted
Yeah,
out of Patriot. And then you take the Excel and Josh has, I forget what it is, but it's some special thing that he bought that's Excel that's on his computer
yeah,
that can take two different charts, like two different Excel spreads.
Sure.
And as long as they have one column that is the exact same,
right,
so you might have to alter, you can actually use this formula that it has,
Yeah.
and it will take the two Excel spreadsheets and it will merge them
Merge them,
together.
yeah.
So that's what we have to do when we do those cyclicals, so.
That'll never work.
No,
but I tried
Don't
sorting,
even try.
I tried sorting a cyclical list, but the problem is. You can sort by property code, which won't list them in order of street names, location. Or if you sort by location, which is the street names. The way you save it in there, that the street name has like 2 Francis Way, has 6 Francis Way, so. And then there could be a 7 Gray Oak, a 9 Francis Way. It's gonna sort by that number, by the street number, not by the street.
Oh, gotcha.
it's all dependent on which one you click on the
Yeah.
top.
But yeah, but how do you get rid of can't get rid of the street number?
Yeah, you can.
Well, then you gotta edit.
Yeah, because
each
when you
one.
do that, it should be, like on the top, there'll be like, loose, which would be. That's essentially your code for, is it a 101, is it, a 106? A 300, is it, an 800 for rec or whatever it is. So that can sort by those, you can also sort by the street, you can sort by the name.
So you have the street, you have the
I see
number.
what you're saying,
number in
Fred,
there.
is- yeah.
It's sorted by the number, not by
Right.
the street
But
name.
if you sort by the street name, it should wipe out that number issue.
The street name is not a column in there, it's because it's got a number associated with it.
Well, either that, or you're gonna make a column, street number only, and then
Then
street name.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying, why, you get.
Let me check with Josh, because like I said, I know he was waiting, Fred, on getting some other stuff extracted from it, and I know that when we got this. It was similar to doing the preliminary billing, right? Like that just got finalized on Tuesday from Catalyst. So that could be something where they just hadn't pulled everything yet for.
because the ones, when you did this for Pine Plains, you got the numbers are all in sequence, so you can do it by street.
Right.
You could do it by street, but if you don't sort by street.
It's
it goes
not-
by, it
yeah.
goes by these
By the
numbers, it's
numbers,
gonna
yeah.
put
Yeah, you
these
can't go by
in
number and street, it
Yeah.
needs to be one of the.
One or the other.
Number is kind of, honestly, kind of like, it's just not relevant when you go to do it, if you just go by street, it should lay them out that way.
But then-
You shouldn't be having like a Gray Oak or another street coming into there, if you do like Sheldon Falls Road, that's all you should get.
Yeah, but then you got, I guess you could go edit the columns, but I could add 500 individual properties to get rid of the street number.
Yeah.
Or add a street name to it. You can copy a column, one column to another column, I guess, but
Well,
to edit
In
the
Excel,
column.
if you change it on the formula on the top bar, that should fix all of that for you.
Right, but
You
it won't
shouldn't have
have,
to do them individually.
yeah, but it won't get rid of the number though. You can copy one column to another, it's gonna copy the exact same thing, but how do you get rid of the street number on there?
Well, that's what I'm saying, the street numbers should be separated.
Yeah, it's not, cause then.
Okay, that's why I said I'll check with Josh. That could be, like I said, he wanted to get everything set so that we had
Yeah.
the properties to look at. That might not all be fully formulated yet.
I think maybe that's just in Patriot, the way you have it.
Because any
identified.
of the other towns, and that's what I'm getting at for, when I did the Ware inspections, the New Salem inspections, the Conway, I had no issues with going by street name.
Yeah.
So that, I'll check with him, that's probably just a technical issue that he can straighten out pretty quick.
Yeah, because there's one, yeah.
And
Yeah, that would help if you could do that, but.
all right,
Did we set our next meeting date?
We haven't, actually, we might have.
Yeah, we did after the,
Yeah.
I
last
screwed
meeting.
up for the restaurant.
I believe we said July 24th.
yeah,
If I'm correct. Yeah, I have July 24th on my phone.
Yeah, 4 o'clock, Jim.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
Thank you.